Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hope Tech and quarter 4. So this is lesson 8. We put 2 quarters together for this class with college track. So we did 7 lessons last quarter. We're going to do 7 this quarter. So this is a continuation. We did 2 levels last quarter. We're going to do 2 more this quarter. So this is level 3, part 1. So go ahead and get your devices ready just to get on ReadyMaker, make sure you're logged in and everything for class. All right, so today we're gonna have our ReadyMaker tutorial as usual. We're gonna have 1 screenshot. And here's our Hope Tech values: be bold, encourage, and explore. So tasks for today, we're gonna have, make a new level. We're gonna do kind of the usual start a new level stuff. We're gonna put in the player, we're gonna do the physics. We're gonna put in some behaviors for the player so that we can move. Otherwise, the player just sits there. We can't do anything. We're going to put in a background, and we're going to do 1 event, which is our code to like the fallen pit and reload, where if we go below a certain coordinate on the screen, it restarts our scene. And then we'll do the 1 screenshot and let me know if you have any questions. So our screenshot for today is just going to be the general scene that we work in ReadyMaker. So it'll just be a picture of when you're in there editing your game, of the player, the background, the platforms, just that kind of thing. So let's go ahead and head on over to ReadyMaker. All right, so in ReadyMaker, here's my project. It's got a lot of stuff going on, but we're gonna do, you should have level 1. I have level 1 right here with Cupcake Carl there. I have my level 2. They're linked together, they're working. We had that all squared away last quarter. So to do a new level, we're gonna hit this green circle with the white plus sign up in the corner. It's gonna bring up, here's our new level. I'm gonna do landscape like my other levels. Let's start. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is put in our player, like our hero. So you're gonna hit the plus sign. We're gonna go into artwork. And here's something, ReadyMaker has been pretty buggy lately. So if you don't have access to artwork or some of the things over here, when you hit this plus sign, sometimes it'll just have like my uploads, GIFs, and I don't know, like effects or something. And it'll be missing artwork and basic shapes and some of the other things over here. One of the good things to do is to go ahead and exit. This is only if you can't access those assets. And then if you go to this little hamburger thing, these little 3 lines on the right, you can sign out, sign back in, and go back in. A lot of times that fixes it. Sometimes also it could be your internet connection. Sometimes it's not super strong. So it's artwork. I'm gonna find my hero. I've been using Cupcake Carl for all my levels, so I'm gonna do the same. So I'm gonna look up Carl, get my Cupcake Carl over here. And you're just going to click on them and drag them in. We're going to be doing a little refresher. It's been a while, I know. So we'll be doing review as well. All right. And up here on the left side, the play button, that's our test button. So that's what our game looks like. You can't move anything around or do anything yet. We need to tell everything what to do. So let's go ahead and, I don't know, just another review. To work on a certain aspect of your game or certain objects that you have in there, you have to click on that object, and then over there on the left, these options come up. So I'm going to select Cupcake Carl, and I'm going to go to physics, and I'm going to turn active on. And then so we need to change these bars, the values of these. So mass stays at 1, drag about 10, 11's fine, angular drag about 13. And then I'm going to lock the rotation. If you don't lock the rotation, I don't know if it'll do it, but as you move, when we put in behaviors to move left to right, it just spins around and bounces around. You can totally keep it that way if you want. I'm going to lock the rotation on Carl here. And then gravity should be on. It should already be selected. So when you test, you can see it falls through to the bottom. So our physics are active and they're on. So next, let's go ahead and put in some platforms for him to stand on. So that's the plus sign again. I'm going to clear out my search of artwork. If you click on artwork and expand it, there's a little gray arrow, artwork with the smiley face. And if you click the arrow all the way to the right, you might be able to just click on artwork. Yeah, you just click on it. There's all these different categories. You can also make platforms with basic shapes if you like. But in artwork, if you look at the categories, there's one called platforms. And so you can look at traditional platforms there. Let's see, maybe I'll do a space one. I'm going to do space with ice. It's cold in space. I'll do it that way. So I'm just going to bring one platform in for now. We're just going to test and make sure. I'm going to put it a little bit below Carl. And there's problems a lot of times with collisions if you have these overlapping. So I usually make sure there's some space to test just to make sure it's working fine. And then hit play, and you should see your character fall and stand on that platform. And that's what we want. If you're having problems with it, you can check in appearance. Make sure your character is solid. Another thing you can check out is make sure your collider box is active. And you could do the same thing with your platform. Make sure your collider box is active. So the collision box is just, it's like the imaginary box that the game uses to interact with other objects. Here I can show it. So that's what is actually Cupcake Carl's interacting with this green box, not necessarily this blue ice thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off. Not show it. Just want to explain it a little bit. So, all right, but still can't play or move or do anything. So let's set Cupcake Carl free. Let him move around here. So the way we do that is we do that by putting in behaviors. And that's also when you select your character and go to the left here, there's this like, I don't know, this loopy thing has like 4 loops. If you click on it, it turns orange. So we're gonna add a behavior. And so you're gonna click this green button up here to add a behavior. It just automatically populates all the behaviors that we have accessible to us. And we're gonna take the control pad first. We're gonna use a control pad to move left and right. And we're gonna use the jump behavior to jump. Otherwise, it's more like you're in space and you can just move kind of anywhere on the screen. If you want to do that in your game, you totally can. I have gravity, even though we're in space. That's okay. I'm keeping gravity. Maybe I'm really close to a planet. I'm just gonna go back to my behavior here. I'm gonna, instead of all directions, I'm gonna do left and right. I'm gonna turn physics on. And then I can pick my controls. I can do WASD or the arrows. So WASD on the left or the arrows on the right. So I'm going to stick with WASD. And so it's really going to be A and D because we're just moving left and right here. So you can pick the joystick color if you want. So now you should be able to move left and right. There you go. So let's go ahead and take a couple minutes and put in some more platforms here and build out our game a bit more. So this is on behaviors. I'm just gonna select artwork again. Go back to my platforms. Put a few more of these in. Slope. All right, I'm gonna move this slope. It's one thing you can do with all objects is you can flip them. So if I want to flip this slope, I'm going to go into appearance, and you can flip things horizontally. Horizontally is like left to right, and vertically is up and down. So I can flip that around if I want. All right, let me make a playable thing here. And then the other thing we want to add is we want to add jump to our character. We want to be able to jump. Otherwise, right now, I can't jump. So I'm only going to be able to get so far before I get stuck on a platform. I can go one more platform. So I'm going to select Cupcake Carl here. I'm going to go to behavior, and then we're going to add another behavior. To do that, you just click that add behavior button on the top, the green button. that's above control pad, there's like a dotted line across. So I'm gonna select that. If you go down a little bit further, there's jump. There's like a little ready maker guy and an arrow pointing up and a line for the floor. I'm gonna click on that and drag it over where it says drag new behavior here. All right, so you can adjust the height of your jump. I use 100 sometimes. Let me put it 50. You can choose your control. I'm going to use W because I'm already using A and D on the keyboard for left and right. So that way I'm going to be AWD. Button active. And that's it. If you wanted to change your button color, you can copy and paste the color hex code in the little box underneath where it says next to color hex code. You could like copy this and paste it so that they're the same for the joystick and your jump control. All right, so now when I hit W, I should be able to jump. Oh yeah, he's like a tiny baby jump. I think that'll work for this. Let's make my game so easy. Oh, double jumped. All right. Sweet, so let's go ahead and put in a background. So we're gonna do that in the plus sign as well. So that's how assets are like images that you can use and objects that you can use in games. And so all the assets are in the plus sign. I'm gonna go from behaviors. There should be one that says backgrounds, and it looks like it's like the icon next to it is like a little square. It looks like there's like a little sun and some mountains or hills. And there's a few ways you can do this. You can do a color. If I wanted it to be this like, it needs to be a different color. It's one thing you want to make sure you have colors so that you can see your platforms. The screen is really hard to look at. You just want to make sure that you can see your platforms. You want to make sure you can see your character well. There's some really fun backgrounds in here. I'm going to reset this. You can do colors. You can hit reset to take that colors away. There's like some really fun ones like this Candyland, but it just makes things so hard to see. You can't tell what's a platform and what's not. You can put a color on top of it. If you do color background, and then if I want to make it dark blue or something, you can do that. You can also hit reset. It'll take it all away. But I think that the ones that are not so busy, don't have so many different colors happening, tend to be a little bit easier to kind of see where your platforms are. So find a spacey one. There's one, Earth from Space. Foggy Mountains is kind of fun. Nebula, there we go. Icy nebula. I don't know if nebulas are hot or cold. And then I think it just looks very brown compared to my platforms and Carl here. So I'm gonna hit the plus sign. I'm gonna add color to my background. Do like a blue. There we go. Something like that. Nice. Okay, so we got Carl, got some platforms. This actually matches my platforms a little bit, but you can still see stuff. So let's test it out, see how it looks. All right. I think I'm gonna change Carl's jump height a little bit higher. So I'm gonna change, I'll just do 100 and see what 100 looks like. Yeah, it tends to be what I use, but I'm not much of a gamer, you guys. I end up making my game super easy. All right. And another thing to keep in mind for next week, we'll put more platforms in, but we're going to make some of our platforms move back and forth next week. So just keep that in mind while you're building things out, that we're going to make some of these move and we get to pick and choose which ones move. It won't be all of them. It could just be one of them if you want, or it could be all of them. So just keeping that in mind for next week while you're building things out, that things will be moving next week. So yeah, just thinking ahead. All right, so we're gonna do one more thing today. We're gonna do an event. So we're gonna write our first code for this level, and we're gonna do the like die and hit and reload. So where if I fall off into space forever, it won't be forever. It'll be like after I get under a certain coordinate, it's gonna restart the scene again. So let's go ahead and work on that. So we're gonna write an event. You remember it's that stoplight in between the plus sign and the gear. And the gear is when we save our game. That's what we click on. But we're so we have the plus sign where we get our objects and our scenes and stuff, our backgrounds, and then right next to that, the stoplight. And it'll bring this up. And here's our events. And events are just the way we do programming. It's block coding basically. And it's just a refresher. So we're going to say when something happens, the effect of that thing. So we're going to say when. I'll write it out here in a second, but I'm just going to explain it. So when, for me, Cupcake Carl gets below a certain coordinate on my game, I'm going to restart the scene in the system. All right, so let's go ahead and click on that first box on the when line. So it's the top line. I'm going to say when, and you're going to choose your player, your hero, whatever you want to call them, Cupcake Carl. And then we're going to do position. It has like a X and a Y coordinate that says position underneath. And we're going to say is below coordinate. It's you don't want to do object because we don't have an object to be below. And we want to do below coordinate. It has a robot head on it. And we're going to do -2 or -3. So you're going to hit the minus, you're going to do -3. And I'll show you in a minute why -3. I'll show you the coordinates and how they work in here. I'm going to hit confirm. So when my character gets below -3 on the coordinates, it's a little bit underneath the screen size, like the scene size. We are going to go to system. It looks like an atom thing. And system again, but with a robot head for the second block. And then restart scene. It should be all the way at the end. For me, it's all the way at the end. These are a little bit different, I think, depending on your device. And it's like looks like a computer window with an arrow going around. All right, I'll leave this up here for a second. Check it out. All right, I'm gonna hit done. And let's try it. So I'm gonna move this. I like to just make things easy on myself. I'm gonna move these so that way I can just test it right away. Oh, I'm going to show you, let me select this guy. Let me show you how the coordinates work here. I'm going to go into appearance. You don't have to do this just for demonstration. So on this dimensions, the first tab is for the size of your object. You can mess with these numbers and make things bigger and smaller and wider and shorter. The second one is where it's at on your scene. And the third one is for rotation. So if you wanted to rotate something 90 degrees, you can do that here. But for the dimensions, the x-axis runs left and right, the horizontal one. The vertical axis is the y-axis. And you can see when I drag this around, it changes. So the x-axis, 0 and 0 is in the center. That's close. That's kind of close. So this is 0 on x-axis and y-axis. So if I go to the left, it goes negative on the x-axis. If I go to the right, it goes positive. And up is positive on the y-axis and down is negative. So 0 and 0 is here. So you just got to think it's going from negative to 0 to positive, then positive to 0 to negative. So -3 is about, running out of space for minutes, about right here. So when my Cupcake Carl falls and gets down to about this spot, that's when the scene will restart. It kind of gives some time. Otherwise, it restarts right away. It's nice to have a little bit of space in between those things happening. So let's check it out, see if it works. Oh, and there he is. It works. Oh, I think he jumps a little too well. I might have to change his settings so he can fly like all the way over to the other side of the screen. All right, cool. So before we do our screenshot for today, and for those of you that are new, and for those of you that may not remember, it's been a while, we do screenshots to turn in on the Google Classroom, just to check on progress, make sure everything's going okay, see what y'all are up to. Mostly I just like seeing how different your games are, but you can do a cover. The cover is just like what you see um, when you do links for your game and whatnot. So you can hit save. Name here. So you want to call this level 3. I'm going to do CT video just because I have so many different games for so many different classes. I need extra information for mine. And then there's this little floppy disk on the bottom left, and you're gonna save it. Just hit save. It should do loopy noises, and then you can close that. So what we're taking a screenshot today is just of this screen where we work in. Really just want to see the background, the platforms, your character. So for use Command Shift 4, and then I could drag, you can do like this whole thing, or you can just do this. You can do whatever you want. I just want to see all the different things. Here's my pictures over here. And that's it. So, but it's really important to make sure you save your game. If not, you can accidentally erase it. We don't want that. I know it happens sometimes. So after you hit save, you can hit exit, and then it should show up in my projects. You can also look at featured if you want. There's some pretty fun games in here. These are some of the ones that I think Ready Maker develops. There's a lot of tutorials where you can download the assets for a lot of these games and make them yourself. But yeah, you should be able to go into my projects and access your game. If you enjoyed today's video, you can like and subscribe down below. You can also sign up for our newsletter at hopenlc.org.